Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session. I believe you guys are doing great this morning, and I also assume that you had a very good Easter weekend. So today we're going to introduce a new chapter. That is also the remaining chapter of this semester or this term. And then once when we are done with that chapter or this chapter, we're going to be focusing on more of revisions and preparing for the assessment. As you guys know, the second test will be conducted on I think it's on the 9th of next month. So I will give you guys I will send you guys some important announcement right there in order to remind you of the test date and also announce the the venue and the time. I think the time should be around 12 or 1, so that should be around, yeah, around that period. So the date, you guys already know the date. In terms of the venues, I have already booked the venues. So I just need to sit down and put everything together and then send you guys those venues so that you guys can also prepare yourself accordingly, especially for those who are on DFC. They can already go and check the venues, if they are not familiar with those venues. Yeah, so that is going to avoid this thing of, being under pressure, looking for the venue. The test has already started. I know finding the venues on APB, it's quite easier because I think they're located at Concowen. So yeah, and Concowen, I believe that all of you guys on APB know where Concowen is. All right. So in regard to the assignment, I hope you guys are making some progress there. Because please ensure that you submit your assignment on time. And before you submit your assignment, ensure that all your group members have reviewed all the information in terms of student details. Because some of you usually you get confused there with writing your group members student numbers and all that, and that becomes a problem when it's times for me to capture the marks, right? And the other thing that I wanted to add in regard to the assignment is that how do you call this? Some group members are not coming on board, are not participating, are not contributing, and that is a big issue for those given groups or specific groups. So if you find out that there are group members that are not coming on board and are not participating, so the easiest thing to do is that when you are going to submit the assignment, obviously you're going to write even their names, right? Student details, including, I mean, those who didn't even participate. You have to put their names there. And probably you can create another column whereby you can write contribution. So those who didn't participate, their contribution is 0%. Can write like that, 0%. For those who contributed, you can leave it like that, but it's better you put 100%. So that 100% contribution for those who contributed and 0% for those who didn't contribute. I think that is the easiest way so that you don't talk too much. And after marking the assignment, I'll just give those guys zeros, and that is based on the evidence presented in their assignment. So I think that is the easiest way that we can proceed with that. Yeah, because I received some emails in that regard that I needed to clarify, and that is also the same thing that I told the student to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open up the floor to chapter 2, which is our main agenda of today. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen, include the sound. I think my slides are already. Yeah, let me share everything. I think it's better. Let me share everything. Yes, I'm using different headsets here. Please, if you cannot hear me properly, or if it's breaking, the sound is not that good, please don't hesitate to let me know. And the other thing also, as I'm sharing the screen, I will not be able to see whatever you have written in the chat box, or if you want to raise up your hands, I won't be able to see anything. So I will encourage you guys to interject, to stop me at any given time if necessary. Probably you want to contribute, you want to ask a question, right? So please feel free to do so. I know we are having this online session, but it doesn't mean that I must be the one talking. So and the other thing, can you please ensure that all your mics are off? Please make sure that all your mics are off. Because if you are failing to do so, let me check if I can exclude that student. I think I have the power to do here and kick the student out. Okay, it's Kubeka. Kubeka, you are not complying. Let me see. There usually luckily enough you did that, because I was gonna try and exclude you from the session because you were disturbing. Guys, again, please ensure that your mics are off so that does not disturb me in the process. Okay, cool. So today we're gonna talk about chapter 2, operation strategy in a global environment. All right. So basically we'll be talking about what you guys know called globalization. So today we're talking about operation in a global environment, basically a company going global, right? So having a kind of international influence, right? So expanding businesses to new locations, right? Right, embracing new ideas from other countries or from other markets. Right, so that is what you are going to talk about right here. The leverage or the reasons that are behind a company expanding business activities to new market, new locations. What are those reasons, right? So we're going to talk about them. We're also going to mention something about the competitive advantage. The competitive advantage concept is also part of the assignment. So we're going to touch base on that slightly. The reason why I even included the competitive advantage concept in the assignment, it was also a way for you guys to read about chapter 2, right? Get, a better understanding so that when we are not discussing it, you should be able to, interact and make the session more interesting. And I hope you guys have read about chapter 2 because it was part of your assignment. Right. Sorry. So this chapter is full of theory. So I'll be just giving you guys a background, the overview of what is happening. I know this you can also explain better than me, right? It's a theory. So by the way, I even forgot to mention that this is part one of because there are two parts here. So part one and part two. So this part one will end it at 11:15, and then we'll join the second part two at 11:20 around that time. All right. So global view of operations and of operations and supply chains. It said today's successful operations manager has a global view of operations strategy. So this means as an operations manager, the focus shouldn't be on the company, on the local aspect of the company only. The focus now should be on um, scalability, right? Expanding, finding ways to expand business activities to new market globally, right? Not locally, but globally. But obviously, before you as a company can expand globally, you need to ensure that locally you have a good footprint, right? Before expanding to new locations. But expanding new locations also comes with challenges. We have culture, ethnic, religious issues that you need to deal with. But the good thing now with the technology that we're embracing, the 4IR, different technology platforms are used in order to penetrate, new market. Let's say, for instance, you want to buy something, you are running a business, some of your materials are there in China, right? You need your materials from China and bring them to South Africa here. Nowadays, you don't need to travel and go to China, right? You can just use the internet. There are a lot of platforms that you can use in order to purchase whatever materials that you need from China or product you need from China, and they will bring them to you here to South Africa, and then you can supply to your market, your local market. So that's what you also call it as a global village, because currently you want to buy something from outside. If there is a possibility of you leveraging the power of internet, you can do so, and that is also able to minimize the cost, right? So with the use of technology, um the the cost involved in terms of traveling, going to acquire the raw materials from a different region or from a different supplier and bring them to your company, it's not much easier because technology can allow you, to do so without you yourself traveling and going to another country and purchase your materials. Currently, I'm sure you guys are aware of these Chinese companies such as Shein, Temu, and all those companies. So they are selling globally. And there are also customers here in South Africa that are buying product, from those platform in China and supplying the market here. Right. So you can see yourself here, you don't need to travel and go anywhere in order to go and buy your product. So that is also the leverage that technology provides as to an operations manager or an individual person, right? So that is an overview around having a global view, right? So that's why they also say, I have already mentioned it, the world is now a global village because it's accessible to anyone willing to go and take whatever from any different region and build a business, right? So on this we can take some examples here that are provided. I don't know if you guys know a company called Boeing. It's an it's an American company, and they supply aircraft, right, worldwide to companies operating in the airline industry. For instance, for South Africa Airways, most of their aircraft fleet are from America, right? Are produced by Boeing, this company. So you can see it's a US company, but it's able to supply worldwide or product to many countries around the world, including South Africa. And this also shows that this company is a global competitor, right? Global in terms of competition in its market, it's leading the way. And obviously, there are other carriers or aircraft manufacturing companies that are emerging, such as the one from China. And I'm sure you guys have also heard about the tariffs imposed by Donald Trump to most countries around the world, and those tariffs are currently also impacting the global market, right? So again, as an operations manager, you need to be aware of what is happening around you, right? Not only focusing on your business, especially if you want to expand as a business to other locations, you need to take care of what is happening, otherwise your business can become obsolete. So the other example is Sony. I'm sure you guys also know Sony, this company. I think it's a company from South Korea, right? And they manufacture laptops, and other, product that you guys well aware of. So this company, they have their supply chain globally. They can source some of their raw materials from Africa, some of their raw materials from Thailand, Malaysia, elsewhere around the world, as long as those products are what they need or raw materials in order to manufacture their product. So, again, being a company from South Korea does not limit them in terms of acquiring raw materials from countries worldwide, right? So this is the global view of operations that we are talking about, not focusing on the local environment. Obviously, you have to have a leverage, right, in your local environment, and also trying to expand and have a kind of influence in the international market. Right. So, and this, aspect also can have an impact on quality, right? Quality, cost, and that's what we call cost leadership, right? Because the more a company is able to acquire raw materials at a lower cost, there is a higher probability for that company to also sell their product at an affordable price. And when I say affordable price here, I don't mean low quality, right? So I don't mean low quality, because that is always the myth that we have, that if a product is cheap, that means that the product is of low quality. No, that is not what I'm referring to. The product is affordable, of higher quality, meaning that the product meet customers' requirement or meet the production standard. So now, what are the reasons, right, that motivate companies to expand their business activities to new locations? Because a local company is operating here in South Africa, and then it decides to expand its business activities to a new market or to a new country. What are those reasons? I don't know if you guys can think of one, two, or three South African companies, right, that have expanded to new locations in Africa. The obvious one that I usually talk about FNB expanding its business activities to Nigeria. And you also have FNB in Zimbabwe, and in Lesotho, right? And you also have Sasol, right? A South African company that has also expanded, I think, to Kenya, something like that. And you also have Engine that is also, has a footprint in some of the African countries, right? So, what are the reasons that are motivating these companies, right, to expand their business activities to new locations? So, that is what we are going to see in this section here. So, the first motivation here is to improve the supply chain. Says that the supply chain can often be improved by locating facility in countries where unique resources are available. So when the company has a specific, right, place or supplier where they get their raw materials from, that company has an opportunity to relocate or open a branch where the raw materials are. Let's say a company is coming from America and come and invest here in SA in terms of coal extraction, right? Coal extraction. So we know that for coal, the the most appropriate or the well-known location here or province in terms of coal extraction is Mpumalanga. So you can see that company will be more interested, right, in coming to open, a facility right in Mpumalanga there because they know that that is where their raw materials are. So in terms of coal extraction, it will make their operations much easier because the coal is right there. And if they decide to open a plant there or a processing plant there, it will be much easier for them. And that could also reduce the cost. So meaning that they extract, they do probably the first, transformation before they can take it to America for further processing, right? So this is one of the reasons why companies decide to go global. It's a reduced cost and exchange rate. Many international operations seek to reduce risks associated with changing currency values. So having a currency that is not so powerful, right, is also one of the reasons why a company can also decide it can be a negative or a positive one. Because a company can decide, okay, since the power, for instance, the power of the rand is not that great, right? Some company might decide to pull out of South Africa and say, no, we can't invest here because apparently the value of the rand is depreciating against, the other international currencies. So a company can decide to pull out or open another location, probably in the US or somewhere, whereby the currency is quite good, is doing good, and they don't have their money won't depreciate in value, right? So this could be, a positive or a negative one, based on your standpoint. But usually the idea here is to go to a country where the currency doesn't represent an issue for a business, meaning that even if you keep your money in your bank account as a business, the value does not depreciate that much. But as you know, the value of the currency always depreciate, but not all of them are depreciating at the same rate. So improve operations. Operations learn from better understanding of market innovation and different countries. So usually what is happening is that as a company goes global, it's able to, improve its operations, right? By improving its operations, it means that it has to meet new customers, probably new requirements, and that has to do with innovation in order to satisfy the new customers' requirement. if a company is not innovative, it's going to be a bit difficult to satisfy the new customers' requirement, especially in the era where we are in. It's quite difficult for the company not to be innovative. And this point is also linked to the second one. I mean, to the next one. It's a understand market, because international operations require interaction with foreign customers, suppliers, and other competitive business. International firms inevitably learn about opportunities for new product and services. You know, as you operating in a local environment, the opportunities that are out there that are globally, you will you will never know about them if you don't go there and compete with other companies. Because as you compete with other companies, you are able to expand to new locations. That is going to provide an environment whereby you are going to produce more product, and obviously having more sales and make more money. So that is a kind of opportunities, and also being innovative in the same time. You can now bring that innovation back to your local environment, right? And keep expanding. It's an improved product. Learning does not take place in isolation. Firms serve themselves and their customer well when they remain open to free flow of ideas. So learning does not happen in isolation. So as companies try to partner, going to go into joint ventures, so that brings, an environment where companies are able to share their technology, share their ideas, and coming into partnership in order to produce products that are, or services that are catered for their specific customers. One of the examples that I can put forward here is the partnership between Renault and Nissan. Nissan is a Japanese car manufacturer, and Renault is a French brand, right? So those two companies, they came together, right, in order to share their knowledge, right, the technology, and produce the cars that are able to, meet the today's customers' requirement. So this is also something as an operations manager you can think of, especially if you want to become competitive in your market. Currently, there is an ongoing discussion between Spotify and Uber, so that in that space, Uber and Spotify is in the music industry, and Uber, obviously, as you guys know, in the transportation industry. So they want to come together in order to provide the kind of music, right, that customers will like in their cars, so that when you enter into an Uber ride, you can easily choose the kind of music that is there for you, to enhance that experience. So coming together as two companies, three companies, it's always a good idea in order for a company to improve its business activities or the kind of services that it delivered to, or they delivered to their customers. And the last point here speaks about um, the manner in which a company is able to attract, global talent. So if a company here in South Africa, you're operating probably in the tech industry, right? In the tech industry, and you know that there are quite specific, locations around the world that are well known for the tech innovations. For instance, in the US, you have Silicon Valley, right? That is known for tech innovations, and there is also another location in India, I forgot the name of that city in India. I think it's Bangalore or Bangalore. So that is also a space that is known for the tech industry. So you're operating in South Africa here, and you find out that the skill that you are looking for is not available. You may be tempted to go and source those skills from those specific location in India or in the US, right? So you are able to go and look for the skills wherever needed, especially if the local one is not able to satisfy the company's requirement or the company's standard. So you as a business can go and look for the skills elsewhere and bring it in so that you can speed up your operations and have a certain leverage, right? So now let's talk about um, mission and strategy. What is a mission and what is a strategy? It says here a mission is the organization's purpose. So what it contributes to the society. So what you need to understand here is that when you're talking about the mission, the focus is on how to probably improve, right, the community, or basically the impact is directed to the community, right? So the mission is the, how do you call it? The impact is on the community. And that is also justify why the company is alive, right? And usually we tend to interchangeably use mission and purpose. So in some of the company's page, you'll find that the mission is represented as a purpose, right? And it's a statement. I wanted to show you guys a practical example of a mission here from I took this one here from the how do you call it, from ShopRite. So it's a ShopRite page online. If you search it, I'm sure you can find it. I think I do have it somewhere here. Yeah. So look at this purpose here, which is also can be considered as a mission. So this is from the ShopRite website. You can get it there also anytime if you want to double check. It says our purpose is to uplift lives every day by pioneering access to the most affordable goods and services, creating economic opportunity, and protecting our planet. So this is also considered as a mission. And if you check nicely, they are having trying by all means to impact our daily lives or their customers' daily life. And obviously, they have also added something here, protecting the planet. So this is also related to the sustainability. Sustainability is also linked to they call it sustainable global what goals, right? So every company need to ensure that they care for the environment, right, where we are living in. So this is a kind of mission that ShopRite is able to put forward and impact their customers' daily lives. Right now, what is a strategy? So that is a mission. What is a strategy? So a strategy is now seen as, you say, is an organization's action plan to achieve the mission. So these are the steps or the stages, right? Or the phases that the company need to take into account in order to achieve the mission. Because the mission is a big statement, but how do they achieve it, right? For instance, in the case of ShopRite, they will be probably choosing, locations where they can open their shops in order to serve their customers, and also probably providing products that are affordable to almost everyone, right? So those are the steps that the company need to follow, right, or to consider in order to achieve the mission, right? So the action plan, what the company need to do, right, in order to achieve the mission. So once a mission is well defined, it's easy to now come up with the steps or the phases, right, or with the plan, which is the strategy in order to achieve the mission. Achieving a competitive advantage. Guys, don't forget to let me know once we have reached 11:15 so that we can close this one, close this session, and join the next one. Yeah. So achieving a competitive advantage through operations. So this is what I was telling you, that this is a question that is also in the textbook. I mean, in your assignment. So you guys were supposed to read this part and understand it. So they say a film achieves missions in three conceptual ways. We have differentiation, cost leadership, and response. So this means operations manager are called on to deliver goods and services that are better, that is in relation to differentiation, or at least different, again that is in relation to differentiation. Cheaper is related to cost leadership, right? And more response. So we're going to elaborate on that, on each of them in the upcoming slide. They say that any one or combination of these three strategic concepts can generate a system that has a unique advantage over competitors, known as a competitive advantage. So the idea is to create customer value in an efficient and sustainable way. So from the assignment, there is a question about how the company achieves its competitive advantage over competitors. So the focus should be, you can mention other things, but the focus should be on one of these three: differentiation, cost leadership, and response. So we're supposed to, or you're supposed to base your analysis, right, around this and see how the application of these three conceptual ways, can be traced to your chosen company. So let's look at differentiation, right? So company deciding to compete on differentiation. Say differentiation is concerned with providing uniqueness or product or services that are different. Say in the service sector, one option for extending product differentiation is through an experience, right? So in terms of the product, right, or in the manufacturing sector, this is a company ensuring that if a company want to compete on differentiation, it has to have features in a product that are differentiating its product from the customer's product. For example, in the car manufacturing industry, a car is a car, right? But some cars are unique, they are unique, they are better, or they differentiate themselves from other cars. And this is based on what? Based on the features that are incorporated into the cars. So you have some cars with how do you call it? Cruise control. You have some cars with the navigation system on board. You have some cars with the autopilot, already there. I mean, these are the features that are setting apart some cars compared to other cars. So this is what you call uniqueness. Is not really coming exclusively with a product that has never been manufactured. No, it's coming up, can come up with the same range of product, but with different, features or innovative features in order to attract the customers. And in the service industry, if you go to a restaurant, the experience that you are going to get there could be the greetings, the kind of music that are played, the food and all that. That is the kind of differentiation aspect that we are referring to. So we have this example here of Hard Rock Cafe, right? I think one of their branches is in Santon, right? So when you go there, as you are, eating your food, there is a platform where rock stars are dancing, or there are kind of videos, screens that are playing rock music and all that, just to entertain the customers. So in the service sector, as an operations manager, you should focus more on the experience that you are providing to your customers so that they can remember you better. Um, the last bullet here talks about Tesla. It says Tesla differentiates itself from other auto brands because their cars are innovative, battery operated, and so on. So even if you are talking about Tesla today, but I think there is a huge competition coming from China. There is a serious competition coming from China there, that I think currently Tesla is even in a very difficult position. For instance, I think last year there is a company from China that sold more cars. I mean, there's how do you call it? Electric vehicles. They sold more cars than Tesla, and that company I think is called BYD. So BYD is almost becoming the leader for electric vehicles, because the cars that they are also providing have some innovative features that are being, that are impacting the customers, behavior. And customers are also more interested in those features. And on top of that, the vehicles coming from China are affordable, and they are also of good value, right? So the quality is quite good, right? Unlike Tesla that are so expensive, and you might find out that you can spend less money on a BYD car and getting similar value as a Tesla, which is more expensive, right? So these are the dynamics that need to be taken into account as an operations manager when you want to go global and compete in the global market. Right. So competing on cost, I'm gonna just give you guys an overview. Competing on cost here is a company producing products that are affordable, customers can afford, and also they are of good quality. I think I mentioned this before, saying that when we are talking about um, low cost, it doesn't mean that low quality, because you're going to provide, as a business, you're going to provide products that have low cost and they are also low quality. I mean, definitely customers are going to run away from your business because you are not meeting their expectations, and that becomes a huge problem for your business, because at the end of the day you are not meeting your customers' expectations, and they are likely to leave you for another company or leave you for a competitor. Guys, it's at currently 11:15. So this is the right time where we're supposed to close this session. and then we're going to John part 2, and we're going to, I believe we're going to conclude the chapter there. And then let's just meet there at 11:20 in the next room, and then from there we'll decide for our fate tomorrow, because I think tomorrow we're supposed to have class tomorrow. Having class with you guys today and tomorrow, that is a bit too much. Anyway, let's meet there at 11:20 while I'm exiting this one here, and you also do the same thing. So we'll meet there at 11:20 in the next room. Oh, can I get out here? Stop sharing.